Nolan's Bane mask explanation actually makes him even stronger than you think in The Dark Knight Rises. Bane was an admirable foe in The Dark Knight Rises, pushing Batman to his absolute limits with his sheer strength, but it was the way his mask actually works that made the DC villain even more impressive. The final installment of the Dark Knight trilogy had a lot of expectations to live up to, especially in the villain department, as the late Heath Ledger's role as the Joker in The Dark Knight is arguably the greatest comic book movie performance of all time. This is where Bane comes in, one of the most physically imposing Batman villains around. Tom Hardy played Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, complete with a unique voice perfectly suited for the character that was muffled by a mask he never took off. Even though the Dark Knight trilogy was going for a realistic take on the Batman mythos, one of Bane's defining characteristics is the mask he wears. The Dark Knight Rises does an admirable job explaining why he does in the film, but it was Christopher Nolan's added explanation of the mask that highlights just how impressive Bane was. The Dark Knight Rises Bane mask explanation proves he's even stronger than he seems. Towards the end of The Dark Knight Rises, it was revealed that Bane was attacked by a group of prisoners while trying to help Talia al Ghul escape captivity. Bane was so badly injured that he had to wear a mask to keep the pain at bay. It wasn't explicitly said how the mask works, but director Christopher Nolan explained that the mask dispensed a steady dose of anesthetic that keeps his pain at a tolerable threshold. This idea makes Bane even more formidable. During a pivotal moment in the film, Bane and Batman come face to face. Bane overwhelms Bruce with sheer power and breaks Batman's back over his knee. It was the first time that Bruce found himself physically outmatched. Knowing that Bane was getting a constant stream of anesthetic during it is even more wild. He is essentially sedated to a certain point, which should hinder his strength to some degree, and he was still able to easily best the Dark Knight. Bane's power twist makes The Dark Knight Rises even more interesting. This explanation adds another layer of complexity to Bane as a character and to The Dark Knight Rises as a whole. Along with being very strong, Bane is also incredibly intelligent in the film, proving to be one step ahead of Batman at virtually every turn. Being able to help orchestrate such a complex plan, while not necessarily being all the way there, is a testament to how good of a villain Bane is throughout. While it doesn't necessarily make him stronger, it allows him to take more damage and pain. In a way, it also parallels how Bane uses venom in the comics to gain strength. In the film, he used the anesthetic in a similar way to Venom, and while it doesn't necessarily make him stronger, it allowed him to take more damage and pain, in more ways than he most likely would have been able to withstand without the sedation. Alongside his natural power, the anesthetic is his true strength. Despite straying heavily from the comics, Bane was a worthy adversary for Batman to face in The Dark Knight Rises. He pushed Bruce Wayne to his limits, literally breaking him before attempting to break Gotham. Doing all of that while essentially being sedated makes his feats even more impressive, and Nolan's way of incorporating Bane's iconic mask into a realistic setting was an inspired move and a fantastic villain choice to end the trilogy.